Hi, so our project is called We Are CGS, not just crayon, glue, and scissors. So our project used both artistic proofs and inartistic proofs. Artistic proofs are made up of ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos means credibility, so we used 3 actual students that left CGS and went on to other schools. Using actual CGS students gives credibility because they have topic confidence and are trustworthy to deliver the message. Pathos is an emotional appeal, so Cecilia's quote, "Wow, that's a harsh statement," about President Brown uses an emotional appeal to show how she was hurt from President Brown's words. This makes the viewer feel Cecilia's struggle and connect to her message, especially because she felt qualified to be at Boston University until now. And then Logos is a logical reasoning appeal. And so Connor's quote about going from CGS into Questrom and then deciding he actually wanted to be in PR shows him using logic and reasoning to explain that CGS classes helped him realize he did not belong in business and he wanted to be in comm where he could write and be creative. The next part are inartistic proofs, and these are things people use from outside of their message and then incorporate into the message. So these can be facts, quotes, examples, testimonials, statistics, etc. So President Brown's email is an example of an inartistic proof. We used an outside document to bolster our message, and then Connor's testimonial is also an example of an inartistic proof.
We also use the inoculation theory, which exposes people to a persuasive argument that contains weakened arguments against another message so that those people will develop resistance against future persuasive messages. There are 2 components of this theory, threat and refutational preemption. First, the threat is supposed to be a message that may spark a protective response in the beliefs of the message recipient. Next, the refutational preemption is how the messenger challenges and refutes the belief raised by opponents. In the video, the argument is that despite President Brown's remarks, CGS should not be branded as a lesser institution at BU. The threat is that his statements may lead people to unfairly judge CGS students based on the school's reputation, according to President Brown. The refutational preemption proves his statement wrong, as the girl in the video had a great GPA and SAT scores when she was admitted, and points out that even the student body president graduated from CGS. This argument will hopefully prevent people from agreeing with President Brown when they read his letter.
So we also incorporated expectancy violations into our project. Expectancy violations theory aims to explain people's behavior when their expectations about what will happen in a given situation are breached. It helps people predict how people will react in a given violation. Expectancy is what someone thinks will happen. After that expectancy is violated, you judge a person's violation as either positive or negative using violation balance. Then you evaluate this person who committed the violation. Do you like this person? If you do, you're more likely to believe this person has a positive reward balance. If you don't, you will interpret it in a negative light. After assessing all of this, you can guess if the person who perceived the violation will compensate. In the video, Rachel and Annie are discussing what classes to take. Rachel expected that Annie was placed into CGS, but Annie applied directly into CGS, which violated Rachel's expectations. Then Rachel starts asking Annie questions about her choice to apply to CGS. This helps Rachel gauge whether or not the violation balance is positive or negative. Since Annie and Rachel are friends, we know Rachel views Annie as having a positive reward balance. Annie can assume that Rachel will react by reciprocating her behavior by being supportive of CGS, and she is. By the end of the conversation, Rachel reciprocates by saying that she wishes she was also in CGS.
There are 2 methods of influence typically used to convince people to accept persuasive messages. The first is centrally rooted messages. These arguments, also known as the elaborated route, are usually full of lots of evidence, arguments, and information, and are far more likely to create long-term change in opinion. The second messaging technique is peripherally rooted messages, which focus less on reason and more on people's emotional side. Typically, the speaker will use either authority, commitment, contrast, liking, scarcity, or social proofs to persuade. For this portion of the video, we chose to use the central root theory and make an elaborated argument as to why CGS is such a good option for many students. Via the portion of the video where we discuss President Brown's email, the receiver already has context for the argument and will be willing to listen. He first points out how CGS helped him recognize where he did not belong. He adds on to this argument by pointing out that the fact that CGS classes allowed him to recognize his strengths and what major path they would best fit. He finalizes this argument by showing how all of the evidence resulted in him being better prepared for his 2 years after CGS and following the correct career path.
Thank you.